Hey guys, welcome to my live video. I know I am starting a little bit later today and I will explain why here in just a minute, but I'm glad to have everybody hopping on. I like to start on time and I am a little bit behind schedule today. Izzy B, it's nice to see you. I would love to hear where everybody's from. It's always fun reading back through the comments and seeing just how broad of a fan base we have all around the world. It's just so fun. So anyway, I am a little bit late starting today. I had to go pick up Lincoln because he was having a hard time at school. So I went and picked him up and I was actually going to go to the grocery store. So I was like, I guess I'll just take Lincoln with me. So anyway, we went and did that. And then I got another call from the school saying that Lily had just thrown up. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go get Lily. And then I had to drop him off at Grandma Smith's house so I could do the live video with you guys without the kids. So anyway, it is so nice to see everybody. Nikki is from Scotland and Susan, it's good to see you. So we will just dive in. We have had so many good questions come in just in the last couple of days. People have sending me DMs, messages through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So I'm going to try and cover as many of those questions as I can here today. I know you guys ask so many good questions. So we'll see. Oh, and I have a sticker on my shirt from the grocery store. That's great. It says trick or treat. It's Lincoln's. So I forgot to take that off. So anyway, I am just going to dive into some of these questions. So I had talked about in my original post, I was going to talk about my faith journey, how the kids are doing, gardening, home reno projects, and my new friends. So we will just dive into all of those. So how are the kids doing? That's how Lily and Lincoln are doing. They just each had a rough day. And I know that there's a lot going on at the school with illness. So I'm hoping it's not too serious with Lily, but she is just resting, was excited to play at Grandma's house. The other kids are doing good. So I volunteered in the class. Well, let me back up. So today has been a really rainy day here in Southern Utah. And when it rains, it pours. And there was no way I was going to wait at the bus stop, drenched in rain and all the kids. So I was like, okay, I've already showered, but I'm going to need to get ready for the day. So I had all the kids watch a show. I finished getting ready and then we all loaded up. I dropped everybody off at the school and then I went and volunteered in the girls' classroom and that was great. The kids are doing really well. And I talk about this every time, but there's the cutest little girl named Daphne that is learning both English and Spanish in kindergarten. And she's not my favorite. I'm not going to say that, but like this child is darling. And it is just so fun to see how excited she gets about learning things. And I was starting to talk to her in Spanish and she was like, no. Like, I don't want to hear you say sí. She's like, just say yes in English. I was like, okay. So anyway, it's just fun to see those kids grow. And there's a group of little boys that get so excited to work together and learn how to write words. So that's really fun to be helping in the classroom. And then I always check in with Lincoln and Logan and see how they're doing in their class, and they are doing really well and just learning a ton. So that's how the little kids are doing. Landon is on a cruise right now with his dad, so he's been texting me all kinds of fun pictures and pictures of pina coladas and strawberry daiquiris. Of course, because he's 13, they're going to be virgin in case anybody's wondering. But he has never been on a cruise before, and so he thinks like drinking out of a straw that's made out of candy is like the coolest thing ever. So he has been really looking forward to this. I think they're going zip lining pretty soon here. So I was like, Landon, you have to send me pictures. So he's doing really good. And then Shaden, as you guys know, is going to school up in Wyoming, still playing soccer, working really hard. And I'm just proud of him. He is doing great. So anyway, that's how the kids are doing today. So that's how the kids are doing. I was going to dive in a little bit gardening. I know it's only midway through January, but I cannot wait to do some spring planting. So I'm already starting to want to prep the soil at this new property so that I can actually plant things in the ground. And I know it's been a while since I've talked about my favorite flowers in gardening, but I'm really excited to plant my favorite flowers, and they bloom in February. They start selling them in the stores here, usually the first, second week of February, and they are called Persian buttercups or ranunculus. And the reason they are my ultimate favorite flower is when you cut them, more of these flowers grow back. And so for me, I've always loved growing these flowers because they make gorgeous bouquets that can sit on the countertop. You can gift them to friends and family in just a cute little jar, and you can buy them at Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot. Persian buttercups, ranunculus, they are my absolute favorite flower, and I get so excited. So right now, you guys know I have chickens, and I have chickens for three reasons. They make great pets for my kids. I love having eggs. And third, I really like the chicken poo for composting, so I can incorporate that and amend my soil with it so I can plant flowers and all that good stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have been doing some laundry room renovations, and I've not talked too much about it, but tomorrow's video was actually supposed to be for today, but I flip-flopped it and I'll just do a live video and hang out with all you cool people. And tomorrow's video will show a little bit more behind the scenes of what I've been up to in the laundry room with that makeover. I have been working with a granite company, and they're going to be sponsoring the granite. And then I've been working with a cabinetry company. They're going to be sponsoring the cabinetry in the laundry room, and I'm super grateful for that. So both fabulous companies to work with. Fab Quartz and Granite out of Fredonia, Arizona is who I'm working with for countertops, and you will get to see all of that tomorrow. So stay tuned for tomorrow's vlog. That's gonna be really fun, and it is all coming together. It's just been a little bit slower, I think, than I had anticipated, just because drywall is taking longer. Everything takes longer. But honestly, I'm gonna be so grateful just to have 2 washer dryer units so I can get the laundry done quicker. So I'm out of that back room, and I'm actually playing and present and with my kids more. So I'm really excited to have that all come together and be finalized. And then I was gonna just be a little bit more open with you guys about my faith journey over the last 6 years, and just how I think sometimes life changes you, and it's really up to you to decide if you want your life to change for the better. And are you going to let it rock your faith? Are you going to let it rock your world? And so just 2 examples of that for me. It definitely has been a journey for me. And as some of you may be aware, I am Christian. I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Some people have referenced that as Mormon or LDS, but we prefer to be called by our actual name, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I specifically prefer that because it has the name Jesus Christ in it. So I've always been very devout in my faith. I think growing up as a child, I think with any faith or religion, there can be extremes on either side, right? Like super zealous and over the top with everything. And then just moderate, I love my faith, I love my religion, I love my family. And then the other extreme where it's I'm kind of that, but not really. I think growing up, my childhood experience was just right in the middle, just steady, firm, simplistic, easygoing. I had best friends that were Catholic. I had best friends that were Baptist. I had best friends that were Jewish, and just were good people. And so I like living not walking the line. I just mean healthy childhood experience, exposed and brought up as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So my childhood was very Christ-centered, family-centered, community-centered, being taught how to serve each other within the home, and then expanding our vision outside of ourselves and serving in the community, whether it was through my mom's example, through PTA of helping with school stuff, or my dad through service, or the sweet neighbor down the road that was a widow. My dad would take us to go visit her, just simple things like that that are very Christ-centered, how he would have lived his life. So finding out that I was pregnant with Quince, I'm sure you guys have all heard this story before, it really did rock my world. I was not expecting that, and it really was this pinpoint in time for me that was absolutely life altering. And I think that's probably the number one question I get asked more than anything is how did that feel when you found out? Like, were you scared? Were you excited? Right? Like all the emotions of that. And yes, it was scary. But honestly, I just felt like when I found out, like no matter what the outcome was, and I couldn't see like how this was all going to turn out, but I just put my faith in God and was like, whatever happens, whatever will be, will be. And I just want to be grateful for every moment I get to be pregnant with these kids. And in the end, I believe in eternal family, that I would have been able to raise these kids at some point in time, if not in this life. And so that was really like helpful for me, because finding out you're pregnant with quintuplets is shocking. There is an amount of grieving that comes with it, which I had no idea was even a part of that journey, but it really did challenge my faith and really forced me to dig deep about like, what do I really believe? Like, is this just something I go to church and talk about, or is this something that's like every part of my being like is faith-based? And it really was just incredible, life-changing journey for me of faith, of hope, of what love is, and that God is ever present no matter the outcome. So I think transitioning into that with divorce, that wasn't something that I had foreseen, had ever considered or thought of, but it was something that presented itself, and it was a decision that was made. And again, it was another journey of faith, because a portion of me, if I'm going to be really frank and honest here, even if I was a different religion, felt like I was some sort of a failure because it just wasn't working. And I think there needs to be a sensitivity there when asking people that question. I know Skylar and I get that question a lot, like, why are you divorced? You know, all of those things. And I think if there can be a sensitivity, and when we ask that of someone, that it's a very private, personal matter between two people and God. And realizing, you know, there wasn't a failure. It was just a choice and a decision that was made that was in the best interest of both parties and the kids. And I know you guys ask me that question a lot, but that's really all that I would like to share about that. But again, it was a journey of faith, and turning to God and turning to the Lord and digging deep and learning as much as I could about myself, and hoping that I come out of this as a better human being, as a better mother, as a better sister, as a better daughter. And I just, you know, I think for a minute there, I needed time these last couple years to just grieve the end of a marriage, you know, of somebody that you love, and grieve that it's going to look different. Just like having quintuplets was the surprise of a lifetime, but there is this aspect of grieving that across the board, all of us women of higher or multiples experience, whether we come out and say that or not. It looks different than what we thought. A lot of us thought we would be having one baby added to our family, and it looks totally different. But learning to embrace it, learning to embrace change, learning how to be comfortable when we're sitting in the uncomfortable, I think is part of the growth that I'm finding in myself. But it does require a lot of digging deep, and it does, for me, require a lot of turning to God and my Savior, Jesus Christ, and finding hope in that, and finding that faith in myself too, to do hard things. So I hope you guys are okay that I've shared that today. I do have an opportunity coming up this Monday. I got invited to like a press conference type of thing for a new temple that is going to be open to the public here in St. George, Utah. And that's a free event that people can attend. I know that there are churches all over the world now that are being built by my faith and religion. And when before they're dedicated, when they're first open, it's totally free and open to the public. You can get tickets, I think, through lds.org. If you follow me on Instagram, jamie.scott, I think the press conference gal is going to send me a bunch of like images so I can show you guys the inside of what one of these temples looks like. Each of them are so different, and the architecture is spectacular. So even if you just come to see that, it's a great experience. So I will give you guys more information on that. If you follow me over on Instagram, I'll give you a link so that you guys can get tickets if you would like to attend that. And I think kids can go too. If anybody has more information on that, you can leave it in the comments below. This one I think is called the Red Cliffs Temple. The last one I did, that I was invited to was the St. George Temple, and that one's like super old pioneer. This one is more new. So I hope that gives you guys just a little bit more insight into my faith and my religious background, childhood practices, but very like Christ-centered, family-centered. And there's been a lot of great questions where people have asked. So I thought I would share that. I thought I would dive into, let's see, I've covered all of that. I kind of took notes here. I took a few notes of just some of the questions that you guys have asked me. Rebecca asked, does Landon go to church with both parents? I think some of you guys might know the answer to this one. Skylar has recently announced that he is no longer a member of the same faith. And so as parents, we each have the right to practice whatever faith or religion we so choose. And Skylar and I both respect each other in this. And so when Landon's with me, he does attend church with me, and he does have a testimony of the faith and religious practices that he's been brought up in. And then Skylar may have taken him to church with him or something. I don't know. I've not really talked too much to Landon about that, but it sounds like he maybe has. Diana asks, does it take a bit to adapt back to each house each time? I would say absolutely yes, because it's quintuplets and it's such a shared experience, but each of the children are so individual in the way they see the world, the way they think and feel, and personality and disposition. It's going to be different for every child. So Landon, it's not too hard. Daisy, it's not too hard in transition. Every kid is so different, and I find that it usually takes us at my house like a day and a half or 2, sometimes 3, just to reset and be like, okay, this is what we do at mom's house. Please make sure you take your shoes off. Remember to bring me your lunch boxes after school, because every person is so different and every home is so different. But we really do try our best to have a united front for the kids, and that's super important to me as much as possible. But yes, realistically, it just does take time to adjust, to change. Let's see, we talked about the laundry room. Beverly asked, oh, we're just going to get right to it. Beverly asked, how is your new relationship going? I think I'll save that one for the end. Julie asks something about 1 or 2 kids eating toilet paper at dad's. So I haven't watched his videos. I guess 1 or 2 of the kids were eating toilet paper at Skylar's house. I have no knowledge of that. They don't do that at my house, so I've never seen that. Hopefully they're okay. I would think that that's not too bad. Let's see, we talked about gardening. You guys ask good questions. I tried to like put these in categories, but maybe we'll just go straight to it. Okay, Elaine asks, what does eternal marriage look like if I remarry in the eyes of the church? And does your church recognize a second marriage? And do they require a blessing approval prior to marriage? Can you have a temple marriage or a civil ceremony? So I think she asked some really great questions. If anybody is the same member of my faith, you're welcome to leave it in the comments below, especially if you've been through this, because I've not really considered remarriage at this point. So I've not really looked at that. But in the eyes of the church, I am officially divorced and not married. And especially because Skylar's not practicing Mormonism anymore. And so if I were to remarry, you can do a civil marriage just like anybody else, but it's a higher practice and a higher law to be married and sealed for time and all eternity within a temple. And that's why temples are so important to me, because I want that eternal marriage, not like past death. Like I want that forever. And that's really important to me. And so to answer your question, I think I kind of answered that. If anybody else has like been through that and wants to comment on that, that's cool. I honestly haven't looked too much into that because I'm just like living in the here and now with the kids and stuff. But I have thought about remarriage and what that would look like, but I haven't thought too much in the future about that. Let's see. Kathleen wants to know more about my schedule, my dreams, my challenges, educational goals. And she says, I love you like a daughter. So to Kathleen, I love you too. I think she pointed out educational goals. That's something I would love to do, to be able to go back to school. And I know through BYU Idaho, I was talking to two separate friends about this. My friend who is male has talked to me about this because he went there. And then I have another friend who's doing Pathways, I think it's called, through BYU Idaho. And the tuition is just so much cheaper because I think it's subsidized through the church, through tithes and offerings, maybe, if that's correct. If you guys have gone there, you can leave comments below, but I would love to look into that. I would love to go to school and become some sort of therapist, licensed marriage family therapist, or some type of social worker. I think I would love that, and it would benefit my family. Jenny asks about a house tour, and I realize, you guys, that since I moved into this house, I have not done a house tour, so you really don't know what the layout of the house has been since we've actually moved in. So maybe I will do that in an up and coming vlog. I think that's a fabulous idea, Jenny. Ginger asked, will I be using wallpaper in any of the home renovation projects? Wallpaper is a little more pricey, so I want to say yes. She said she really liked the wallpaper in the last house behind the bedboard in the homeowner suite, and I would love to do that. It was a Schumacher print, which was like super expensive, and I do not have that kind of money anymore. So if I did wallpaper, it'd probably be some sort of like Walmart special that was like clearance on clearance. But I do love the look of wallpaper, and it is making a comeback. And I would love to incorporate that. Like maybe if I had like a really good sponsor or something, that would be a really fun project to do. Sherry asks, how do you make a living? And I think you guys, most of you guys know the answer to this because I address it quite frequently. People have this question. So I make my money off of views, and then when companies sponsor a video. So views that come through Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. And that is how I provide for my family. And I'm super grateful for that because it means I can be an at-home mom as much as possible with my kids while providing for our basic needs. And so I'm just really, really grateful for that. Brielle asks, okay, I tried to save these all for the end, but Brielle asks, does your friend, my male friend, have children of his own? So for those of you that haven't watched this or aren't aware, I have started dating just one person. So I'm not like dating, I've just been going on 2 dates, probably a third date here soon. Does he have children of his own? The answer is no, and he's never been married. But if he could have 15 years ago, he would have both those things. So it's been fun getting to know him. Katrina on Instagram asks, when do you think you will stop doing vlogs when the quintuplets get to a certain age? And I think this is a really fair and honest question to ask. And the answer is, it just depends. I do love doing this, and I love sharing. When I first started out, I was really hesitant to share anything personal about my children or pictures or any of that. And it was actually a really difficult thing for me. So like, if you guys have been following me for a long time, the first 1, 2, 3 vlogs, I barely talk. I am so quiet and just so protective of my kids after that traumatic experience of the pregnancy and the birth and delivering all of that. But at the same time, I was so grateful to God that I get to have 5 to love. And so I think you guys have been wonderful and patient with me as I've grown into this, and I hope to continue to grow in just this awareness of self and deepening of faith and confidence in myself and the beauty of sharing what we love with the world. So I would like to continue doing it, but I do think there needs to be a greater amount of respect, dignity, and sensitivity when it comes to kids, especially my kids. And so it just kind of depends as they age how we're doing, but I'm really grateful because, like, as far as like hopes and dreams, I would love to be able to use this platform to make connections with other, primarily women out there, because women are just amazing. And then also provide for my family, and also set aside money so that my kids can receive a fullness of education. I understand that marriage is important, but I really want my children to understand and receive a fullness of their education first and foremost, so that they are better human beings and that they can contribute to both their own families one day and society. So let's see, I think I covered this page. Beverly still asked, how's your new relationship going? I think we'll get to that one at the very end, if that's all right with you guys. Bailey over on YouTube asks about the strict dress code or undergarments that we wear as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I think this is a really relevant question to ask, especially for those who are curious or don't know about the LDS faith and religion. So we do wear undergarments. They're just called garments. And they are something that we wear once we've been through the temple and been asked to remember the Savior in our lives every single day. And so it's similar to like in other faiths or religions, there will be kind of an outward thing that reminds you of the promises you make to God and God's love for you. And so like I know a lot of Christians will wear the cross or like rosary beads. And it's kind of like that for me. It reminds me of the promises that I've made to God within the temple. It reminds me of the Lord's love for me and the importance of family. And I am grateful that that is a priority for me and that I've made it. So I thought those were just really great questions. And the way she asked it was actually quite beautiful, but I didn't have time to like write it all down because I was running late. But I did write just a few notes. Religion as a whole has a large emphasis on our ties and connections to deity, and it's an outward sign and representation of our connection and commitment to God. So I just wrote a few thoughts late last night. I was a little bit tired. If you want information on that, you can look it up on lds.org and just type in garments. If you're curious about that, you can learn more about that. There was another really good question. I'm trying to think where I wrote this down. Maybe I wrote it on this paper. Okay, Jennifer on, I can't remember which platform, asked, what's your belief on what happens after we die and heaven? This topic is fascinating to me. I don't know if anybody else finds this fascinating of like, who am I? Where am I going? Who's going with me? Where did I come from before here? And where am I going after this life? And I know everybody's different on this, but this is one that I find fascinating. And I actually love reading books of various religious or non-religious people to see what common denominators there are about like pre-earth life and like post-life. And I find it fascinating. I believe that we return back to our Heavenly Father who loves us. And I believe that we can be reunited with our loved ones once we die. And if I can just simplify it as much as possible in that way, that's my belief system. And it's really comforting for me to know that people I loved and had those ties to in this lifetime, or people that I never met that are in my family line, that we can be united forever and be back with God. So to me, that brings me a lot of comfort. And it was something very comforting to me knowing while pregnant with higher multiples, no matter what the outcome was. Let's see, I think I covered that one. Let's see, Dorothy. Okay, we're just going to dive into it because I know a lot of you guys have asked me about some things. Dorothy says, if you're so inclined, tell us a little bit about him. So the person I'm dating, meaning we've had 2 dates, we've decided we would like to date, so we'll have a 3rd date soon. I just want to preface this with this gentleman. You guys know he's from Idaho. He's originally from Rexburg. He's purchased a new home in Idaho Falls. He's just a really, really good man, and he's just very down to earth and simplistic. And along the way, I've kind of asked, he doesn't have social media, so I could say anything and he would never know. But he doesn't do social media. He doesn't have Facebook. He doesn't have to be like the center of attention, which is kind of nice. Like he's just like easy to talk to and have a conversation with. And we met through a mutual friend. I know some of you have asked that. We met through a mutual friend in this neighborhood. So I've only shared a few things about him just out of respect because this is all new. And I kind of asked him, you know, what are your thoughts about that? Like me sharing this or that, like what are you comfortable with? And everything I've shared with you at this point in time, I've talked to him about first before I've shared it. And he's like, that's just fine. Like you can share that. Some of the characteristics I see in this gentleman is he's very simplistic. He's down to earth. He's a hard worker. He's incredibly kind. He's tender-hearted. He's just a good person. And I think good people are good to have in your life. So we're just taking time getting to know each other. But I did ask him, if there was one thing I could share about you on social media, what would you like people to know about you? And this is what he said last night. He said, it's all about Christ. So he lives a very Christ-centered life. He loves the temple and he attends weekly. He never misses. And he said, number 3, Christ helps make families forever. So those are the 3 things that he was like, if anybody wanted to know anything about me, I hope it would be that. And I thought there was a real sweetness in that. So that is just a little bit more about him. Savvy Faith over on YouTube says, when do you personally feel it is right to introduce the littles and the oldest to this gentleman? And I think that's a fair question. I think originally when this person came into my life, the person that called me, I was really frank. I was like, you know, I'm really not in a space to be dating. I don't think I'm ready for that. It was like 2 days past my birthday. It wasn't the best birthday I ever had. But they were like, well, what are you looking for? And I kind of described attributes, qualities that I am looking for. And they were like, I think you just described this person. And I was like, they were like, can I give him your number? And I was like, that's fine. But I didn't reach out for like another 4 days. He had texted me. I didn't reach out. And I was like, this guy's just going to be weird. I'm not ready. Like, I just want to be focused on my family, which I have like 100%, like everything all in for so long, because my family is everything to me. And so it was just kind of like little by little that we've been getting to know each other, because it's long distance and it's just through text. And then we worked up to a phone call and then to a few FaceTimes. And then we were like, okay, well, we feel comfortable as friends. Maybe we should meet. And so it was just really nice to have adult conversation with someone who's male, someone that is devout in their faith as much as I am, if not more, and is so simplistic, so kind. He loves senior citizens and just has a good heart of gold. So anyway, we're trying to find a time when we can get together for a 3rd date. I think we've been texting back and forth probably 5 or 6 times just today. But that's a little tricky. I've never dated anybody long distance. And Skylar was my first with everything. So I really don't have a ton of dating experience besides high school. So some of the things we talk about is I'm like, I don't know like what's normal, what's not normal. So it's just kind of all new to me. But anyway, so I am now just reading your comments. I've tried to like zoom through all of this before the kids get out of school. I think I covered everything though that everybody asked. Beverly, the same one, how's your new relationship going? Is going really well. That's all I'm gonna say. It's fun. So kids and I are good. We are just plugging away with school and life and things. If you guys have any more questions, I will now be watching and reading questions. I know it takes a while for them to come in, but I just love doing live videos. It's actually my favorite. because it's unedited. I feel like it's raw, it's real, it's unfiltered, and you get to see the real me just for a little bit. I missed it. That one was really fast and a little bit longer. I'll try and scoot up so I can read a little bit more of the comments here. I'm trying to see, does anybody know what time it is? Can you comment the time? I just want to make sure I don't miss the bus when the kids come. Somebody said, I love your parenting style. Thank you. Jerry says, good for you, Jamie. Thank you. I think happiness is a beautiful thing. Good morning from Australia. You guys know how much I love Australia. I'm happy for you. Keep smiling. Thank you. I honestly never thought I could feel butterflies again. And now you guys know, like, I do. Okay, 2:47. Cool. The kids don't get off the bus for a little while. So, but yeah, I'm hoping the kids will be with their dad next week. And I'm hoping to take just a little bit more time to finish up home reno projects and maybe do a little bit of traveling. So let's see. Jamie, I enjoy your video. You're doing awesome. You seem happy. Thank you. I feel happy. Maybe a bit more tired, but happy. Hello from Canada. It's so fun to see where everybody is from. So if you guys have questions that I've not answered, you can leave them in the comments and I will do my best. Sweden. I've always wanted to visit Sweden. I think I have ties genetics wise to Sweden, probably through my mom's side. But there's certain places of the world that I would just love to visit and I don't know, maybe do some public speaking of sorts and just share my story of the Quint's birth and so many miracles, so many blessings, like more than I can count on my fingers and my toes. But it really was just an experience that changed me and I will never, never be the same person again. So, looking for a few comments before I wrap it up. So many people from Australia. Hello from Chicago, Becca, and Northern Ireland. I'm amazed. I always think everything is just like US based. And then I'm like, no, there's more people. How are your and Skylar's relationship now? I think it's one of respect because he is the father of my babies. And anytime I look at that sweet violet rose, I just see her daddy, and her spunk reminds me of her dad. So yeah. Yep. Hello from the Bronx. Nice to see you. Gabby is watching in Dallas, Texas. Do you follow any other multiple family vlogs? I do. I follow, higher to multiples is like quadruplets and up, but if we're talking triplets, Tori Scow is pretty cool. Hey, Lindsay, hey, she's quadruplets. Yeah. The Frills, you guys know I love the Frills. Quintuplets. Some people do more like vlogging than others, so I don't know how many of us. The Busbies, I actually don't watch too many people that have quintuplets because it stresses me out because then I feel like I have 10 in my house because of all the noise. So honestly, like when I first did infertility, the first 2 weeks I dreamt it was quintuplets before I ever knew. And when I typed that into YouTube, of course, up came like the Busbies and I couldn't even watch it. I was like, this is stressing me out. Like I cannot even possibly think about that. I'm not wired for that. No, thank you. But sometimes life hands you something and you just got to say, okay. Somebody asked, how old is my friend? My friend, is he attractive? My friend is slightly younger than me. Slightly. So he's not super old, but he's not a baby and he's not super young. Is he attractive? I would say so. Hello from Idaho. Deborah, what part of Idaho are you from? Just know you are awesome. Thank you, Audrey. Yeah, I'll see if I can. Austin, Texas. It's a good name. Austin, Texas. Will your friend move to St. George if things work out? That is something that we do talk about and discuss. He works in Montana. He works in another part of the country with what he does for a living. But I think he's licensed in like 3 states to do what he does. So it is an option, but of course, we'll just have to see how it all works. Oh yes, God's Divine Nine has sextuplets. I adore her. She is so down to earth. Aubrey, where are you from in Idaho? Idaho is really growing on me. I do love God's Divine Nine. They had sextuplets. We were pregnant about the same time. And if you guys want to know a little like stuff that I've not really talked about, TLC, we actually filmed a pilot, like little thing, Hayburn, Idaho. Okay, cool. We filmed a pilot for TLC, and they came back and said, okay, you can have a show if you, what does he do for a living? Sorry, I was a little distracted there. Anyway, but Sweet Home Sextuplets, she was pregnant at the same time. So of course they're going to take the gal that has sextuplets over the quintuplet mom, because they already had 2 quintuplet shows at the time. And so anyway, I'm actually glad, because I think we were able to make far more money doing what we do here. Jennifer's from Pocatello. Very cool. All the Idaho people are like, yes, we like Idaho. And I do too. New Zealand, that's cool. So I love God's Divine Nine. I find her just a breath of fresh air in a world that can be so full of darkness, and she is just wonderful. I don't think I answered that original question when somebody asked, at what point do you think you'll introduce him to the kids? One of you is really smart about what his name is. I'll just say that. Landon has met him briefly, and my parents have met him, but the little kids haven't. And we've been talking now for like 3 months, and I had always thought, okay, 6 months and then I'll introduce my kid to someone if I'm like really sure that I like this person. But I really know this person well at this point, and so he would like to meet the kids. So I think at some point they will meet him. I think one of the kids FaceTimed with him the other night, because Logan came into my room and he was a little asthmatic. And so anyway, he got to say hello to this person, and he had him gut laughing, belly laughing, and it was really sweet. So anyway, but I think this person would just be good and respectful as an addition in my family. So anyway, we'll have to see how it goes, but still just a beautiful friendship, and it's great. So the sextuplets were John and Kate +8. I did watch that show. That show was really hard for me to watch. If you guys watched John and Kate +8, and I really felt like society as a whole didn't show very much respect to the kids when all of that happened. And I hope that would be something that our audience has just been like remarkably wonderful about in regards to the kids. But yeah, I had a hard time with watching John and Kate +8. It was not my favorite show. I would have rather have watched Sweet Home Sextuplets, if you guys ever watched that, because it was very family centered and like God centered. And so I really, really enjoy watching that. I also love Staley Quad Squad, and then the Gardeners. I forget what theirs is called. The Gardeners had identical, they did IVF, egg split, and then they had 4 girls, so 2 sets of identicals. And I think she was on Ellen a couple of times. She was really funny. And actually, when I was in the hospital and I had just delivered the babies, she had reached out to me, and it was just like, you did it. And I was like, I'm so grateful to know that other people have walked this path and I'm not like totally alone, and that it's going to be okay, even though I don't know what the outcome is going to be. So anyway, I think meeting, one thing that's interesting is social media, like women shame each other. And I know I've opened up a little bit about this before with like the trolls or like online bullying, which is just not cool. If you want to see me get fired up about that, I do have thoughts about that. But I find it interesting that those of us who have had multiples, that have had twins, and especially those of us who have walked the path of high order multiples and high risk pregnancy, We do not judge each other. We do not shame each other. And shame rarely helps a person to change. And so what I find in our group of Higher to Multiples on Facebook is we champion each other and we learn from our mistakes and we grow by uplifting others and helping each other to grow. And I think that's a beautiful thing to apply in life across the board for anybody. We never know what somebody's carrying. And I hope, and I always say this, I hope we can extend grace and kindness to each other. I know I've been, like, if you guys have ever seen, I had this moment when I was in a movie theater and I was like, yes, that's exactly how it feels. Have you guys seen Wreck-It Ralph? And I think it's the second Wreck-It Ralph where Ralph and Penelope make like a video and launch it on YouTube. And on one side, you see just like all the positivity and all the heart emojis and all the good stuff. And then Ralph walks around to the other side and he sees all the darkness of social media and he just like feels heavy and weighted and just wants to sink. And that's what it feels like for me to do social media at times, because while it is like wonderful and exciting and there's so much love and championing, there is this dark side of social media that we can find ourselves paying attention to that. And I really don't want to champion that here. So I hope that you guys can all be kind to each other, extend kindness to my family and my kid's dad. And I'm just really grateful for the love, kindness, and support you have shown to my family throughout the years. And I feel like it has changed my life forever in a way that I never thought I could ever experience. So I will continue doing social media as long as I can, just very Christ-centered and family-oriented. And I'm just grateful for each and every one of you, and especially for watching. It really does provide a way for me to support my family and be at home with my kids. If I went out and got a job right now, the amount it would cost just for childcare alone, I wouldn't be able to make ends meet. So I'm really grateful that you guys watch and that you keep championing our family and all the good things. The kids will be getting off of the bus soon. I love you guys. Just grateful for each one of you. And I'm grateful to do these lives. And I just would challenge you guys today to say something kind to somebody else in your life that might need to hear it today. And if you can just listen to your heart, it may be someone that you never thought might need to hear that. But no, like, this is what I was talking to the gentleman about last night, because saying I love you is something that comes so freely from me, which is why I love that this is all called 5 to Love. And as Logan says, like, love just grows and grows and grows and grows. But reaching out to someone that may have been overlooked or not noticed, and letting them know that you see them and that they're valued by you, by God, and others. I think every woman, every person deserves that. So anyway, I love you guys. Hope you have a great day. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video. You'll see a little bit more behind the scenes. I haven't even approved the vlog yet. Kyle sent it over and I was like, okay, I gotta go get the kids. I gotta get the stuff done. But I just love you guys. So anyway, I will catch you at the next live, which will be next week, and stay tuned for tomorrow's vlog. Love you guys. Bye.